What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 273 of Hashtag AskGSM here today for February 20th, 2019. I am Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. First and foremost, I apologize for my awful voice here today. For whatever reason, I went to bed on Monday night feeling like not great at all. And keep in mind, too, I never get sick. I think the last time I got, sick was a year and a half ago when I went away in, August of 2017. That was about it. Other than that, I don't remember a single time I've been sick. I've been sick in that time. This isn't really sick, but my voice is shot. I woke up with my throat hurting yesterday, a massive headache. And the headache has since gone away. I feel fine now, but because my throat hurt, my voice is completely shot. So again, please bear with me through today's episode. I appreciate it. I take no days off when it comes to this type of stuff, so I do the shows anyway, despite my voice sounding the way it is. Nonetheless, guys, if you want to send in a question to the show, you could do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Leave a comment on the post that I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section of this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. So first question here comes from Marcus B. from YouTube. Do you think WWE will bring back other stipulations for WrestleMania this year, like TLC, Steel Cage, etc.? I would say that it's not out of the realm of possibility. Just because they have the TLC pay-per-view where they normally hold TLC matches and ladder matches, and the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view that hosts the Hell in the Cell matches every year, which I don't agree with, but nonetheless, they have brought back ladder matches, Hell in the Cell matches at WrestleMania in years past. They've had a ladder match at WrestleMania from WrestleMania 31 through 33. They had a ladder match every year for a few years there with the Intercontinental Championship, the tag team title, same thing. Still, I thought, they were great matches. So if it makes sense, then bring in a stipulation. I can't remember the last time we had a steel cage match at WrestleMania. Those don't really feel WrestleMania worthy. Yeah, maybe back in fucking 1986 when we had one at WrestleMania. Maybe it was 89 or whatever the WrestleMania 2 was. It must have been... No, it was 86. It was 86. When we had, I think it was Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy inside the blue steel cage. Yeah, that felt like a big match, but we have steel cage matches all the time on Raw and SmackDown, and very rarely are they any good, because usually the stipulation is abused to the point where it doesn't mean anything. So I wouldn't bring back steel cage for WrestleMania. But a TLC match, if it made sense, would be cool. A Hell in a Cell, we've seen it before. WrestleMania 28 and WrestleMania 32 come to mind. I wouldn't want to see a Hell in a Cell match brought back for no reason this year, but again, wouldn't be the first time. Likely won't be the last. There really isn't any other match. I need to see an Iron Man match at WrestleMania this year. Not really. We've seen a few Iron Man matches in recent years in WWE. We had one a few years ago with the women, not only in NXT, but also in the main roster with Charlotte and Sasha. We had one with the Hardy Boys in the Bar back in 2017, and then another one with Rollins and Ziggler at Extreme Rules 2018. So that's not really something I want to see brought back for WrestleMania. As of right now, looking at the current lineup for WrestleMania 35, aside from maybe a no holds barred or a no disqualification stipulation, there's no obvious stipulation I want to see brought back, but it's not, like I said, out of the realm of possibility. Second question comes from Joe M. from YouTube. His question was, thoughts on Ty Dillinger requesting his release? Yeah, I read that this morning when I woke up. Not surprising. And I can't even say disappointing, because I said that with Dean Ambrose a few weeks ago. Surprising, but not disappointing. With Ty Dillinger, it's not surprising whatsoever. Not surprising, nor is it really all that disappointing either. Just because with Ty Dillinger, the guy's been a fucking loser pretty much since he showed up in WWE a few years ago on the main roster right after WrestleMania 33, which was cool, and they pushed him for a cup of coffee, but he never really did anything. He chased the United States Championship for a time, and that was about it. They never really did anything with him. And he's been sitting on the sidelines now since September. He's only had one match, only a few matches on SmackDown in the last 9 months. So I can't really blame the guy for wanting to leave and get out of his contract. I mean, his Twitter activity is pretty evident too that he was not happy in WWE. There was a tweet that he put out a few weeks ago where he said, he was asked by a fan, he said, why don't you just go back to NXT? And he said, I tried. So fucking sad. He tried to go back to NXT, but he was denied. That's so sad. Dillinger was like the ultimate jobber in NXT, but he got over in that role. People love the 10 thing. He was pretty hot in those last few months with NXT from like November in the feud with Bobby Roode, from like November to like April or May when he left. I think it was April. So like for a 5 or 6 month stretch, he was really popular. And then they called him up and he got a big reaction from night one. He was in the Royal Rumble and they haven't done shit with him since. So I don't blame the guy for wanting to leave. I know Cody Rhodes commented on his release, or him asking for his release, which is no coincidence. They were friends during their developmental days. He's very high on Ty Dillinger. I could very well see Dillinger going to All Elite Wrestling. Absolutely. I could definitely see Dillinger being AEW bound. So hopefully he is used right wherever he ends up. The guy's a good talent. By no means great, but they should have done a lot more with him, the company, than they did. The guy was never going to be a world champion, mind you, but he could have been a solid mid-card guy if they used him the right way, and they never did. The guy was just a fucking stepping stone for everyone else, so that was a shame. But, the fact that he asked for his release was hardly a surprise, and hopefully he's granted his release and he can go elsewhere. Joe's second question: if he's fit, should Mustafa Ali be the one to challenge the WWE champion, presumably Daniel Bryan, at WrestleMania? Honestly, it's not that far-fetched to think that Ali could be contending for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. I know people are saying, maybe Bray Wyatt, maybe John Cena. I've been saying Cena for a while now. I still stick by that until after Fastlane. We'll see how it shakes out post-Fastlane to see if Cena will be back for WrestleMania at all. But Ali and Bryan would not be a bad match to do at WrestleMania. I said a while ago, it wouldn't be WrestleMania worthy, but the story made sense. And we know it would be a good match, but they have to sell people on the idea of Ali being a WWE champion come WrestleMania. Same thing with Kofi Kingston, to be honest with you. I don't think the title match at WrestleMania should be Ali versus Kofi Kingston. That sounds like the opener to fucking main event. Like, I think that's a great match on paper, don't get me wrong. But as a WWE championship WrestleMania worthy match, I would have to say no. At least Bryan being involved would make more sense. So Ali and Bryan at WrestleMania would be great. You gotta think that this current spot that Kingston is in would have gone to Ali had he not gotten hurt a few weeks ago. So it's really all a matter of whether he's cleared to compete by WrestleMania. I don't know how severe the injury that he suffered was. Hopefully he is. It'd be a bummer if he missed out on WrestleMania. But Ali going for the belt at WrestleMania would not be, again, that far-fetched, considering his history with Bryan. There's not many other options from the active roster. I think it'd be a good idea, and the match would be killer if the feud is built up the right way. The next question also comes from Joe. His question was, would you like to see a champions versus champions match between the Revival and the Usos at WrestleMania? That would be awesome. Quite honestly, there's no other tag title match between the two brands they can do at WrestleMania that would make as much sense. And how great would it be? I mean, they obviously would not do this. But the Usos versus the Revival in a WrestleMania match where the winners are granted their WWE releases. Because the Usos are rumored to be done post-WrestleMania, the Revival have been wanted out of their contracts for months now, which is likely why they were given the Raw Tag Team Championship just a few weeks ago. But as a match, it would be great if the Usos or the Revival don't move in the upcoming Superstar Shakeup, which I don't see being the case, unless the Usos move or drop the tag titles around WrestleMania time, then I don't see either team moving. So this would be a goodest time of any to do the match, especially since we might not see it ever again, unless it was in another promotion. But that'd be a great match to do. And again, it sucks that you have to ask for your release or want out of your contract in order to get pushed in this company, it seems. But it would be a great match, and I would not complain about seeing the Raw Tag Team Champions and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions square up and do battle if it meant the match was great and meant getting them on the card, because otherwise I don't know what else you do with the Tag Team Champions at WrestleMania that gets them on the card. Next question comes from @TheAverageGrunt from Twitter. His question was, how would you have booked the Intercontinental Championship if it wasn't deactivated after No Mercy 2002? Here's the catch. Everything that happens at Judgment Day 03 onward still happens, so your booking has to take that into account. So the title was deactivated at No Mercy 02, like you said, when Triple H beat Kane for the belt, and at the time Triple H was the world champion, so they unified the two titles, and the IC Championship was just deactivated. I don't know why, so they didn't have a mid-card belt on Raw for like 7 months. Again, why they didn't have a mid-card belt, I have no idea. This was still at the time of the brand split, too. So they didn't have any other championships on Raw, aside from the fucking world title and the tag titles, and that was it. No European Championship, no hardcore title. That was it. So I don't know why they did that. In retrospect, what would I have done if I was a fan at the time? What would I have liked to have seen? I would take the Seth Rollins route. I would have Triple H hold both belts and defend both championships. Now, having double of Triple H is probably not everybody's cup of tea, but it wouldn't have to last long. Triple H lost the World Championship at Survivor Series that year, so like a month later, to Shawn Michaels in that Elimination Chamber match. I would have put the belt right back on Rob Van Dam and kept the championship on him through when Christian beat him for it at Judgment Day. So Judgment Day 03 is when they crowned the new champion. That's when Christian won it. So I would have had Rob Van Dam take the championship from Triple H in like the fall of 02, soon after Triple H won it from Kane, and then have RVD hold it through Judgment Day when Christian wins it, and everything else after that stays the same. Just because there's really not many other people on Raw at that point I would have put the belt on. Maybe Booker T. Honestly, Booker T probably would not have been that bad of an idea, just because Booker and Triple H did end up feuding for WrestleMania. So maybe Booker, instead of beating him for the World Heavyweight Championship, which he didn't anyway, maybe Booker beats him for the Intercontinental Championship. And that's when Booker loses the title to Christian at Judgment Day. So that wouldn't be a bad idea. You know, I take back the Rob Van Dam thing. I say that Booker beats Triple H for the championship instead. And then everything else after that stays the same. At RJ_Marceau from Twitter, thoughts on the "You Deserve It" chant? He definitely already knows my thoughts on this. We discussed this over text a few days ago, but I think it's absolute bullshit. I know why people do it. They mean well by it, but the whole, "oh, you deserve it," dude, everybody deserves it. Everybody fucking deserves it. The whole idea of like, oh, Kofi Kingston, and I like Kofi, but it's like the whole idea of Kofi deserving a WWE title match at WrestleMania. WWE title opportunity at WrestleMania, dude. So does Zack fucking Ryder. Do I want to see Zack Ryder in the World Championship match at WrestleMania? Absolutely not. So the whole "you deserve it" chant is just absolute bullshit. Mike Kanellis, the guy's been sober now for a year or two. He's a good talent. He deserves it. Should he be going for the WWE title at WrestleMania? The answer is no. So I hate the whole "you deserve it" chant. Fucking "you still got it." I hate to. Oh, God. It's one of those dumb Mark chants I never really thought made much sense. I hate the whole "you deserve it" chant. Again, I see why people do it, and they mean well by it, but if you really analyze it, everybody deserves it. So I just think that's a dumb chant. RJ's second question, what matches do you want to see at AEW Double or Nothing, which RJ and I will be in attendance for come Memorial Day weekend in Vegas, so I can't wait for that. There's really no more additional matches I want to see added to the card. I'm sure they will add more matches, of course, between now and Double or Nothing, but like no one match sticks out to me. Like I'm already looking forward to Jericho and Omega, which is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to the Young Bucks versus Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. That should be awesome too. Even fucking Hangman Page and Neville and Pac should be awesome too. So I'm looking forward to those matches. There's no other matches I would like to see added. I mean, there's matches that will be added, but no one match I'm like, oh, that has to be added to the card. Like, I don't know, because I'm not sure who else will be on their roster come May, because they're adding people all the time. So, as of right now, no real matches that come to mind, but it should be a great show. Those top 3 matches should be awesome. I was talking to RJ the other day. Cody is having an open challenge on the show. So, if it's not MJF, accepting the open challenge, given the whole back and forth between Cody and MJF recently, their relationship on being the Elite, if it's not MJF, I would assume that it might be Marty Scurll, because he should be done with Ring of Honor by that point, so I'm not exactly sure, but a Cody-Marty Scurll match would be good too. They can always, Marty can blame Cody, like, you left without me, what the fuck, I was by myself, and now I'm back alive, because they're playing up the whole story that Marty died, because he's not with them in AEW at the moment, but yeah, Cody and Marty Scurll would be a good match to do too. At Reborn Again from Twitter, his first question was, John's first question, why did WWE botch the call-ups of Heavy Machinery, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, and EC3 so badly? I wish I had an answer. I really do. This might go down as the worst batch of NXT call-ups they have ever done. Heavy Machinery might be the most over out of anybody, and even they aren't really doing much of anything right now. They've had a few entertaining outings and a few, impressive showings, but that's about it. Lacey Evans has done nothing. She was in the Rumble for a while, but she has not wrestled since then on TV. Nikki Cross had a good debut, but then she went on to lose a few different times. EC3's a fucking loser, too. He's a mute right now. I don't know how you mess up EC3, but they did. And then Lars Sullivan has been MIA for months, so I don't know what's going on with him either. But yeah, they really fucked up these call-ups. And really, the issue is that they called all these people up without a plan in place. They just called them up like, oh, you like NXT so much, you want to see these people on the main roster. Not exactly. Not exactly. EC3 might have been main roster ready. That's about it. Lacey Evans should have stayed down in NXT. Nikki Cross was ready for a call-up, but Lars, Heavy Machinery, like Lacey, I would have kept them down in NXT. They really had no business being called up when they did. And now they're just doing fucking nothing. And they're not even assigned to one brand. Whatever happened to that? Oh, they're going to be appearing on both shows until we can find a home for them. Well, it's been a month. Why can't you find a home for them? That's my question. It's been 4 or 5 weeks. How do you not have them assigned to one brand by now? So the whole thing's a fucking mess. And it pisses me off. They've taken 5 to 6 really good talents and completely neutered them. Heavy Machinery, I mean, they weren't really that great to begin with, and they've done well with what they've been given so far, but they could be better. Lacey Evans, what the fuck are they doing with her? Nikki Cross, they completely wasted her. EC3 feels wasted. He already feels like a loser right from the get-go. And Lars Sullivan, I mean, that's not the company's fault. The whole anxiety attack thing, that's not their fault at all. But yeah, this batch of call-ups has been atrocious. Here's hoping that the next batch of call-ups come after WrestleMania is a lot better than these guys, because this has been awful to watch. John's second question: after the incredibly muted response from the Lafayette crowd on Raw, should WWE stop running Raw and SmackDown in some cities and states? Absolutely. I've been saying this for a long time now, that WWE should have a list of towns that they don't go to because they're awful. I know they sometimes will, it'll be a good market and they'll sell out a certain show there, regardless of how loud or bad, how loud or rowdy the crowd is. They'll go there anyway because they can make money there. They know that. I know it's a business, but at the same time, they have to realize that some of these crowds are atrocious. That I'm not talking about size of the crowd, but like their reaction. Like you could have a crowd of a couple hundred people and they're really loud, so it doesn't matter. But with Lafayette, the crowd was probably no more full than other recent crowds for Raw and SmackDown. But their reactions were atrocious. They just sat on their hands the entire night. New Orleans was way better on Tuesday night for SmackDown. Excuse me. The SmackDown crowd was way better on Tuesday in New Orleans than the Lafayette crowd for Raw on Monday. So Lafayette, crossed them off the list. They should not go back there anytime soon, if ever. Corpus Christi as well, or Corpse Christi, as some people like to call that crowd, because they're atrocious, too. They're always quiet. They are terrible. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with the fact that WWE should stop going to certain towns, cities, and states based off how, loud and reactionary they are. If they're just sitting there doing nothing, it doesn't make for the greatest atmosphere for certain shows. So, go there for house shows if you want. That's completely fine. But for TV, do not run Lafayette or Corpus Christi. 2 towns that come to mind. I'm sure there's more towns that are as bad, if not worse, than those 2 towns. But those are the first 2 that come to mind as towns that WWE should absolutely stop running. His next question: Mandy pinned Asuka. Why do they like misusing Asuka so much? I know she's the champion, but after not being on SmackDown for nearly a month, I just don't get it. Yeah, that was a weird outcome. I know they're setting up Mandy and Asuka likely for Fastlane, and that's fine, but when you consider Asuka went undefeated for like 2.5 years, then they had Mandy fucking Rose pin her on SmackDown, it's like, I don't know about that. Also, too, the last time we saw Asuka was the Royal Rumble. Believe it or not, a month ago. The last time we saw Asuka was the Royal Rumble, and on that show, she submitted Becky Lynch, the hottest star in the entire company. So how does she pin Becky Lynch clean, or beat Becky Lynch clean, and then lose to Mandy Rose? Oh, she cheated. Like, who fucking cares? She still beat Asuka. She beat Asuka. I thought that was really stupid. So every step forward they have with Asuka, they take 2 steps back. They give her a big win at the Royal Rumble, then they don't feature her on TV, then they bring her back and have her lose to Mandy Rose. So again, it's always 1 step forward, 2 steps back with WWE's booking of Asuka. And I know she's the SmackDown Women's Champion, but there's no obvious match in mind for her at WrestleMania, and that's not good. If Charlotte ends up in the Ronda Becky match at WrestleMania, she stays put in that match, and they don't have her face Asuka. Asuka's kind of fucked, because I read that there was a rumor that Asuka could be facing Lacey Evans at WrestleMania. That hardly feels WrestleMania worthy. Yeah, Lacey Evans, the same woman that we've not seen wrestle since the Royal Rumble. The same Lacey Evans that lost to Natalya on Main Event a few weeks ago. So I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not what we end up getting. But I don't know. I'd rather see Mandy go for the belt at WrestleMania at this point, but we'll see where they go with it. We'll see where they go. But yeah, the booking of Asuka has been terrible for at least the last year or so. Next question comes from @Jeremy8911 from Twitter. Could you see Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan ending in a screwjob finish at Fastlane, leading to another match at WrestleMania with Kofi finally winning the title? It could happen. It could happen. I know I said a week or two ago that, Kingston and Bryan, like I said earlier, is not a viable option, a viable match to do at WrestleMania. Well, considering how over Kofi is right now, it really isn't that far-fetched. It would be... So here's the thing. With Kofi losing at Elimination Chamber, you do a screw job finish at Fastlane. I mean, if Kofi's going to win the belt, it would have to be at WrestleMania. Why would you blow it off at fucking Fastlane? But I don't think he is winning the title. If they haven't pushed him by now, why would they start now? You know what I mean? He's been in the company for 11 years. Why give him a world championship now as opposed to 5-10 years ago? And I don't think he's world championship material anyway. I mean, people want to see him win the belt, which is cool. I think he's great in challenger mode, but as a champion, but would he really be that great? I say no, but him winning the belt would be a cool moment. I've said that before. I want to see him win the belt, albeit briefly. Beyond that, there's no real reason to put the championship on him long term. But that is a possibility, because if it's not Kofi, like I said earlier, there's only a few select people that we could see go for the championship at WrestleMania. There's Bray Wyatt, maybe. I've heard people say John Cena, Batista, Bray Wyatt. There's really not many other people that could go for the championship at WrestleMania. So Kofi is as good of a challenger as anyone to go for the title at WrestleMania. If the story was right, the match would be good, but this guy was eating pancakes fucking 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. I don't really agree with the fact that Kingston would have to go for the championship at WrestleMania in order to be solidified as a main event player. I don't see that being a real thing. I mean, the guy deserves it, but so does a fucking, jobber like Ty Dillinger who just quit the company. So it's not a matter of deserving it, and it would be a cool moment, and I'm glad he's over right now, but I think it's only temporary, to be honest with you, before they kind of milk this for all it's worth, and then they move on from Kingston as a championship challenger. Because again, if they were going to put the belt on him, they would have done so by now. So I mean, they could do the match at WrestleMania. I just do not see that being a possibility, to be honest with you. Like a big possibility. Anything can happen, but anything can obviously happen in WWE. But I just cannot see for the life of me Kingston and Bryan actually having a WrestleMania match for the WWE Championship. At Scarlet One from Twitter, what did you make of Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa's appearances on Raw and SmackDown, particularly the latter two being paired up as a tag team? I didn't mind that at all. First of all, the whole, Gargano and Ciampa being tag team partners ruins their year-long story with them as rivals. I don't see how. I really don't. Unless you haven't been watching NXT. Those that have been watching would know that Ciampa and Gargano have been on the same side now for weeks. They even fucking teamed up at Halftime Heat. So this ruins their story. Why are they tag team partners? Dude, they've been allies for at least a month or two. So I don't know why people are complaining about that. I thought all of them made good first impressions, but I don't like the fact they were just, here's these 4 NXT stars. I would rather save them for a big moment like the Raw after WrestleMania. Yeah, I'm selfish in saying that because I'll be at that show this year. But I'd rather them save these appearances for when it matters like that. I don't think they're full-on call-ups. I'll talk about that in a second. But at least they all made good first impressions. I thought Ricochet's debut on Raw was great. Black had a very good match with Andrade on SmackDown. Gargano and Ciampa had 2 very good matches with a Revival on Raw, then the Bar on SmackDown. So yeah, I'm a big fan of how all 4 guys were used this week, but that's only week 1. Again, like we said earlier with the other NXT call-ups, they were fucking butchered right from the get-go, so they're already better off than those people, but at the same time, would this push be sustained for all 4 guys? Like, Raw and SmackDown at this point do not need more people. They need to use who they have. Like, Nakamura has not been on the show in weeks. They have not used Rey Mysterio in a few weeks. Like, stop calling up new people and focus on who you have. I don't agree with the idea that, let's call up people from NXT to solve our problems. Because it's not NXT that's going to solve your problems. It's the booking that's going to solve your problems. So, again, with Gargano and Black and Ricochet and Ciampa, I thought it was cool that they were on WWE TV this week, but I don't think it's going to last, nor should I. I think they should go back to NXT starting next week and not appear on the main roster until they're officially called up. And maybe they are call-ups. I don't know if they even know if they're call-ups at this point. I don't even know if WWE themselves know whether these are official call-ups or not. If they were just one-off appearances, I don't know. But they made a good impression, but I don't like the idea of these guys just showing up for no real reason. Like, I thought it was random, and I'm not a fan of it. So it was okay, but I mean, it's a good idea in theory, but then to execute it and to put them on Raw and SmackDown at a time where both brands really should be using who they have better, as opposed to looking to NXT to call people up. I would call up Black of these 4. Keep Ricochet in NXT, keep Gargano and Ciampa in NXT for now. Black should be called up, but I would wait until WrestleMania, because if they get called up now, where do they end up on the WrestleMania card? Like, what do you do with these guys if they get called up right this second? And Gargano and Ciampa are champions anyway in NXT, so it would really gut NXT if they called up all these people at the same time. So I don't think that's the case. At Scarlet One, second question: did you hear about Paige's comment saying that fans held women's wrestling back? So to be exact here, let's go to the actual interview. This is what Paige said the other day to Golf News. This is what she said. It was never WWE holding the women back. It was the fans not taking them seriously. They wanted to see more of the male characters many years ago. It was a male-dominated sport. I don't agree with that. I thought that was a very dumb thing to say. I don't think she was wrong in saying that people wanted to see the men more than the women, but why would they want to see the women more when they were involved in 2-minute matches? It is absolutely the company's fault. Absolutely the company's fault. The whole, you ate up the bras and panties matches. Of course they did. Any male would like a bras and panties match if they see tits and ass involved. So of course they're going to eat that shit up. That's such a dumb excuse. She doesn't want to blame the company because she still works there, but I thought that was a really dumb thing for her to say. It was 120% the company's fault. Oh, it wasn't the WWE holding them back. It was the fans. Yeah, let's blame the fans. Okay. Let's not blame the fact that the company was putting them in 2-minute matches a few years ago for like well over 24 years. Oh, okay. No, that's not their fault. It was the company's fault. Get over yourself. I thought that was so stupid. What a dumb thing for them to say. Really dumb thing for her to say, just because it was never the fans' fault. Fans only ate up, what they were given. And there are certain cases where, they'll chant for certain people and, because they want to see more of them. And people demanded more of women's wrestling a few years ago. And it was the fans that forced WWE to change, not the other way around. So it was 100% WWE's fault. And I could see why she wouldn't want to bury them because she still works there. But I thought those comments were ridiculous when I heard that. Their third question: do you know of the McMahon incest storyline that Vince once tried to pitch towards Stephanie? Yeah, I have heard of that before. So there was a storyline a couple years ago where Vince was going to have himself be the father of Stephanie's child in storyline, which is so fucked up. That is so fucked up, but that's what they were going to do. Thank God they did not go down that route, and they instead had, the baby be born the way that it was. And I don't know if they ever incorporated the child into a storyline of any sort, nor should they have. But I think that was back around the time that Stephanie was actually pregnant with Triple H's child, maybe around like 03 or 04. But yeah, that would have been insanely dumb. Not the first dumb idea that McMahon has had, but definitely leads the list of the most fucked up angles they could have done had they actually done it. But yes, they even openly talked about it on a DVD a few years later. I know you sent me the clip to that too, and they were like, wow, yeah, we almost did this. And it's like, wow, why would you even want to admit it? I know there was a creative writer that had talked about that, maybe Krista Joseph or someone like that after they left the company, who talked about, yeah, we almost did this, and it got vetoed at the last second because Stephanie didn't want to do it. And she usually agrees to anything that they want to put her in, but she said no to that, and I don't blame her, nor should she have said yes, because that would have been really fucked up. But, yeah, I have heard of that, and I'm glad they did not do it, but it's still one of those big what-if things. Like, had they actually done it, how much damage would it have done? Like the Katie Vick shit, which people are still talking about almost 20 years later. Their next question, best and worst of Elimination Chamber. Overall, I thought it was a solid show. The chamber matches were what really made the show worth watching, in my opinion. So, of course, the best would be the 2 chamber matches, specifically the main event. And also the Cruiserweight title match, too. I enjoyed that a lot as well. I thought Murphy and Tozawa had a really good match on the kickoff show. The worst, Rousey and Riot I thought was a waste of time. I thought the angle afterward was good with, with Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. I thought that was well done. The actual Rousey-Riot match was a total waste. What we got on Raw was what we should have got at Elimination Chamber. Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin was pretty abysmal as well. There was no reason for that to be happening either. Specifically, Corbin winning really just buried Strowman 6 feet under. I know he won the next night on Raw, but 50-50 booking. Like, why the fuck should I care? But, yeah, that's the best and worst. The only other 2 things I didn't mention were the handicap match for the IC title. The match itself was decent, nothing special about it, but Balor winning the belt was cool. The Usos versus Miz and Shayna, that was a good match, a fun match while it lasted, and the Usos winning was a surprise. So that was good. That by no means like the best of the show, but it was a good match. So overall, it was a good show. But what you really need to seek out is absolutely the 2 chamber matches, specifically the main event for the WWE Championship, and specifically from that, the last 10 or 15 minutes with Bryan and Kofi Kingston. At Brad Berdar from Twitter, is there anyone that's not already a part of 205 Live that you would like to see compete in and potentially win the tournament to determine who will challenge Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship at WrestleMania? 3 names come to mind that aren't on 205 Live as it is. 3 people. 1, none of these will likely happen, but at least the first 2. 1, Trevor Lee from Impact. I wouldn't want to see him win. He just signed with WWE as part of the Performance Center group, whatever their most recent class. Cool to see him join WWE. I wouldn't want to see him win anyway, but he'd be a cool get for 205 Live at some point. ACH would be a lot of fun. I don't think he's too likely either. He'll likely start out in NXT or at least the Performance Center for the foreseeable future. The third one, and this could always happen, Kushida. Kushida would be fucking awesome because Kushida was not announced as part of that class that reported the Performance Center about a week or 2 ago. So they could be saving him for a big surprise, either in NXT or 205 Live. He'll likely go to NXT first. But, Kushida would be a great opponent for Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania. And if it's not Kushida, I really don't know who else you do. Because Buddy Murphy's beaten everyone by this point. He's beaten Tommy, who has since left anyway, Tozawa, Kalisto, Alexander a number of times. There really aren't that many people that I want to see challenge for the championship at WrestleMania. Even the 4 people they've already announced, I think Murphy, I have no real interest in seeing face Murphy at WrestleMania, that being Kalisto, and I've been there, done that. I don't want to see that. Kalisto, Tony Nese, maybe it would make sense from a storyline standpoint because they've always been friends and Nese never got a one-on-one title shot, so maybe Nese, but even then, that's a bit of a stretch. It would be heel versus heel, so probably not. Who else did they announce? Drew Gulak, heel versus heel, no thanks. And Brian Kendrick. Been there, done that, so I'm all set too. But, yeah, I don't know. I would say Kushida, but from the current roster, it'll likely be maybe Humberto Carrillo, possibly. I don't know why they would do that, because they've already had him face Buddy Murphy and he lost. But, I want to see it be, I really want it to be Kushida. I think he'd be an amazing opponent for Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania, and would be a fitting successor for that championship. At the Durbinator, at the _Durbinator from Twitter, his question was, hopefully not too late on this, but do you think WWE seems to value Mandy Rose more than Sonya Deville? It seems strange to me that Sonya has been relegated to the side so that Rose can get the spotlight in spite of favorable crowd reactions for Sonya. I like both girls. I think Rose, they both have very good looks. They're both really pretty girls. Deville might be better in the ring than Rose. Rose has improved immensely since her NXT days. Deville too. They're both good. I think them developing a personality was the best thing that could have happened to them, because previously I could not give two shits about them, but they're a lot more entertaining now. They're a lot more entertaining now than they were even a year ago. And they're pretty decent in the ring too. If I had to pick one over the other, I think Rose has the look that WWE likes, but I think Deville might be more valuable to them just because she is a bit better in the ring and she's a better character, I think. But she'll get her time. I think she'll get her time. It looked like they were going to break her off from Mandy late last year before they started up with the idea of the women tag titles. So that's why they were kept together. But at least Sonya is allowed to shine. It's not like Deville's being buried 6 feet under and she's just a stepping stone for Mandy. Sonya, in case you forgot, has beaten Naomi before. She pinned Charlotte not too long ago either. You know, she's picked up a few big wins, so Sonya is not as big of an afterthought as I think you may believe that she is. But it is pretty clear that they're pushing Rose more than Deville, but I think they can't push them both at the same time, otherwise they kind of come across like the Iconics where, yeah, they're equals, but they're both equally losers too. Deville hopefully will get her shot at some point, but for right now they can only focus on one, and they seem to value Mandy Rose more than Sonya, but Deville is a very good talent in her own right. At the Wrestle Guy from Twitter, his question was, though I don't believe Kofi Kingston will or should walk into WrestleMania with the championship just because Bryan would make more sense at this moment to walk in with it, I do believe Kofi's push should continue for an eventual Money in the Bank win. How do you feel about this? Well, with Kofi, I feel like, you know, he's got to win the big one eventually, whether it be Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, the WWE Championship. Like, Kofi is what Shelton Benjamin used to be to the Money in the Bank ladder match, where he was in a bunch of Money in the Bank ladder matches, but he never fucking won. So he wouldn't even have to cash in successfully, but I think it'd be really cool to see him with the New Day as Mr. Money in the Bank. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm not opposed to it either. Like you said, I don't think he should walk in WrestleMania as champion either. It really doesn't make much sense. I think Bryan's a better fit for that position. But if Kofi's not going to win the Royal Rumble after years of trying to, which would be cool, but that's never going to happen. Him winning Money in the Bank, I don't see the harm in it, to be quite honest with you, because the briefcase has been a waste in recent years anyway, so why the fuck not? Why not? Baron Corbin cashed in and lost. Strowman cashed in and lost. So why the fuck not? Why not give him the Money in the Bank briefcase and maybe even have him cash in successfully for a brief title reign with the WWE title? I don't see the harm in it whatsoever. And then his second question, the last of the day, his question was, do you think these 4 NXT stars that made their debuts on both Raw and SmackDown are call-ups or simply promoting the NXT brand and those superstars? I want to think it's the latter. I think they're just promoting NXT and getting more eyes on the brand, and for WWE to boost their own ratings because they're desperate right now. I really hope they're not permanent call-ups. This whole, like, oh, we don't know what brand they're going to go to is such fucking bullshit. They still have not determined what show EC3, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, and those people are assigned to. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing right now. These people should stay down in NXT. They should not gut NXT like that by calling up Gargano, Ciampa, Black, and Ricochet all at the same time. I think that'd be insanely stupid. But I think it's just really promotion for NXT and getting more eyes on that brand and spicing up Raw and SmackDown, which isn't... I mean, it's necessary, but by bringing in NXT people to do matches for a week or two seems kind of like a waste to me, when I would rather not blow your fucking load with these debuts and hold them off for another date. That's what I would do anyway. But whatever. Yeah, I don't think they're permanent call-ups. That could be wrong. I don't even know if they know for a fact. I said this earlier. I guess we'll find out in due time. But as of right now, I mean, I would assume they're just there to, you know, make things interesting on Raw and SmackDown again, which they shouldn't have to resort to NXT for that. They shouldn't have to look to their developmental territory to make their own main roster shows better. That's pretty sad. NXT should stay its own entity, stay far away from Raw and SmackDown, and stop mixing the two, because it's just not necessary. And the whole, like, oh, we're going to have people compete on both shows, because why not? It's just so dumb. Like, it ruins the brand split. So, Yeah, I would hope that they're not permanent call-ups. We'll find out in due time, but I would hope that they're just there temporarily to promote NXT before they go back to NXT and in time for TakeOver. Like, I could see Black being called up full-time after WrestleMania, but for now, I would keep them off NXT so their eventual real debuts are more memorable. And that does it, guys, for episode 273 of Hashtag AskGSM here today. Again, I apologize for my awful voice. I'm hoping to get 100% back to 100% by next week. So hopefully any audio from here on out isn't as shitty. That being said, I would assume that tomorrow's Wrestle Rant Radio will have the same effect in terms of my voice being gone. Same thing for my Mark Henry documentary review that I have going up on Friday. But it's weird. It's weird because I recorded something yesterday and my voice was not nearly as shot as it is right now, and I was still sick yesterday, so it's very weird. So hopefully this will be gone in the next couple of days and then go back to recording without having to fucking pause and stop every 5 minutes because my voice just gives out. So again, guys, thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate it. This was not a permanent thing. My voice should be back to normal by next week. But in the meantime and in between time, if you want to send in a question to the show, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Leave a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. So with all that being said, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.